Hi, and welcome back to the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus featuring TalkingFish. Get rid of this cursor. Perfect. We're launching into a new episode. It's a new day. This episode will be coming out April 25th. Who do we want to play as? You know what? Give me Azazel. How's everybody doing? I just recorded a daily episode that you will see before this. I'm going to start releasing these in chronological order. I had been doing them the opposite. You know, I would record what I considered my priority episode, my 8 a.m. episode first, and then I would record anything extra that was released immediately afterwards. I think we'll mix it up this time. You just take it. That's fine. That's perfect. And now all of these pills are just exactly what we wanted. If those had been range downs, it would have crushed you. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well, feeling healthy, distancing as much as you need to. Oh, how am I? You know what? My man's Azazel here. He's got the right idea. He's wearing his mask. That said, I do have one complaint. No, I know you're probably going, oh, YouTuber boy has a complaint about the global pandemic that's killing 1 million people. I'm sorry, I don't know how many people it's killed. I should have written that down. To be clear, I'm not laughing about the pandemic, I'm laughing at myself. Because I literally, in the last episode, just talked about preparation. I didn't prepare that joke. My bad. I hope you can find it in your hearts to forgive me. I have found it in my YouTube dashboard that people are getting a little more regular about watching, which is incredible. Thank you so much for supporting my content. It's not super high production value. I know the microphone is coming tomorrow, so I promise you in my extra videos I record tomorrow, which I do have the day off of work, thankfully. You know that I'm going to be spending all day tomorrow in Reaper just practicing using the interface, creating some higher value content. I don't know what this is going to do for us aside from destroy our range. I didn't think about that. Okay. Time for a spicy run. Oh, that was too spicy. Come on. Oh my gosh. You have to be a little more careful. Give me a bomb. No bombs. So I will be practicing probably all day, trying to get good at improving my audio. Not far behind that, we're going to be moving. I say not far, that's a month, that's 30 videos. Right now, we're sitting at about 20 videos. So, double the time from now from when we started. We'll be in a new recording space that I do plan on pairing. That's low value. Wish I could. Do wish I could. Fortunately, we cannot. And we're moving on. I'm not trying to put a rush job on, I promise. This is what I'm actually doing. I'm getting my thoughts together because I've started brainstorming ideas for discussion on these videos. So, I've got my sweet journal in front of me. It was a gift this last Christmas from my mother-in-law, who's very supportive. I don't know if she watches my videos. If you do, thank you. If not, I get it. It's not it's got a targeted audience, I think. But I'm using this journal to brainstorm, writing it down, creating a physical copy of some of these ideas that'll help link my memory a little bit. I'm not the kind of person that usually says, oh, I gotta write something down, but I don't want to take any chance. This is awful. Alright, brother Bobby, it's your time to shine. Can we? Ah, we couldn't. This could be a short one, boys. Oh, no. Alright, sorry, my eyes are the size of saucers right now. I'm trying to avoid getting hit. Ooh, not good enough. Nope. I thought I still had a two of spades card and I didn't even look. So I'm going to start with a little bit of tech talk. I've been watching some benchmarks on GPUs, right? Because I just spent a lot of money on a GPU, so it's something that I do. Whenever I spend money on something, I like to do a ton of research. So when I bought a car, did a ton of research and figured out, you know, likely faults with the vehicle, most common maintenance issues, most common manufacturing issues. Anytime I buy a TV, I'm always looking for reviews and specs. So I just built this PC. Ah, that's too spicy. I want it, but I can't. And that's worthless. That, however, is pretty good. So I've been watching some GPU benchmarking because NVIDIA is looking at releasing a new line of GPUs later this year. Oh my gosh, that was so lucky. How did he not explode right in my face? Let's try to enable Bumbo. Give him some coins if we can. And I noticed something. I hadn't even considered getting an NVIDIA, or sorry, I hadn't even considered getting an AMD GPU. Because everything that I had read said that basically they just weren't worth it. Specs are not up to par. Shot a bomb now. And on paper, I agree. But the benchmarking video that I had watched brought up a good point. They use a different slot. Oh gosh. How come we're getting only Harbingers? Perish. Oh. They use a different slot, so instead of PCI Express 3.0, they use PCI Express 4.0, which has double the bandwidth. So in reality, it only takes half the speed to have the same relative speed, or the same perceived speed. Oh my gosh. I hate this. He hit me. It's over. I'm gonna give you another run. That was too short. We're gonna do Eden. You can never have too much Eden, I think. Well, especially whenever you start with just some amazing items. So I hadn't even considered it because everybody told me, hey, the Turing architecture in the RTX card is amazing. It'll intelligently learn your behaviors in games and then adapt and create a better experience, which, to be fair, I did go ahead and get the best of the best, or at least as far as consumer cards, the best of the best. But I'm seeing now, and if you don't know, NVIDIA's got a line of cards with a final designation of 60, 70, and 80. And then Series 2 starts with 20, Series 1 started with 10. And these are of the GeForce cards, so GeForce GTX 1060, 1070, 1080, and then the newest line has ray tracing. So those are RTX 2060, 2070, and 2080. And then there's a suffix that refers to optimization or maybe some hardware increases of Super or TI. And TI is their highest level card. So anyway, this is all beside the point. The Radeon RX 5700 XT was out benchmarking everything but the RTX 2080 Super, which, let me put it in perspective for you. A Radeon 5700 XT costs about $450. Okay. A 2080 Super from NVIDIA is going to run you $750 to $800. And like the difference between the two is extremely small. If you're playing a game with DLSS or dynamic learning super sampling, which is AI-based frame control. Oh, thank you. You have to have a game that's specifically tailored for that, but you could get some increases up to 10% for an additional 80% in cost, and I just don't think that's worth it. Just like I think this room is not really worth it. So if I had to go back, what would I do? Probably the same, because I do like my card a lot, but I would know that I have an option to get 2 Radeon RX 5700 XTs and run them in Crossfire, and then I would have a lot stronger video editing platform, probably. Oh my gosh, I am just walking straight into enemies. Good thing I started with a lot of HP. So let's stop for a second and talk about our stats. We started with exactly this much HP. 2 red hearts, 1 spirit heart, 15 rate of fire, which is terrible. 4.28 damage, which is good. And we've gotten some amazing items since then. You'd love to see Infestation 2. It's one of the strongest items in the game. Mysterious Liquid is highly, highly underrated, I think, because it does do a lot of damage to ground-based enemies. Now, later in the game, we will be seeing a lot of flying enemies. It doesn't do anything for you at all when the enemy doesn't touch the ground. We started with Crystal Wall, which is very nice, both for the mapping and for its chance to give you some spirit hearts and useful cards, as we just saw. Don't have any keys to give you, sir. 20 cents. 21 cents. Good amount of money to have whenever we can get some shop access. That's going to pay off really well. So if you're out there and you're thinking about building a PC, I'm not going to tell you to go one way or the other, honestly. But I think everybody has an agenda whenever it comes to buying hardware. I got pushed pretty hard in the AMD direction, and I don't regret it. My PC, now that everything is functioning the way that it's supposed to, is an incredibly powerful machine that now gives me 0 issues. Mostly I have software errors. It runs the programs perfectly. For example, if I look over at my OBS, open source broadcast system, or open broadcasting service, rather, I see that I am fully recording in lossless mode, so I'm recording at, oh my gosh, recording at the same resolution that I'm playing at, same frame rate that I'm playing at. I've had 0 lost frames. Oh, time for payback. Please don't smack me. Okay. Using 0.0 6% of my processing power. Please, please stop, sir. Yeah, 0.6 of my processing power, 0 drop frames, and this is exactly how it streams as well, so it's a good machine. But if I had to go back, I might reconsider some of the AMD options. I had considered getting an AMD Vega 2 or Radeon 7, I think it's sometimes called. Vega 2 is the name of an integrated processor. Integrated graphics would be graphics that's built into your CPU that gives you a basic display. It doesn't really give you any high-end graphical ability. It doesn't give you the ability to game very well. And seeing as that's primarily what I built this for, that's not what I considered. But no, the V2 refers mostly to, oh my gosh, I'm getting too mind flooded. Refers to the Vega processors they have right now. They have a 56-bit version and a 64-bit version, aptly named Vega 56 and Vega 64. And this is just an upgrade. It has a ton of dedicated memory, running at a higher speed. So it's running at the same speed as the Titan V from NVIDIA, which is like a $2,800 graphics card, versus that B2 or Roman numeral 7, which is like $700. And then on top of that, I was watching some benchmark for one of the new laptop processors that AMD has come out with. This would be the Ryzen 9 4900H, which again is a laptop processor, so you don't expect it to be super powerful, but it comes in a very unassuming laptop. It's not a 4K display with 2400 hertz. It's not a gaming laptop dedicated. It looks like just your standard at-home workstation. And that thing was cranking out like desktop numbers. And a lot of that is that Zen 3 architecture, I believe, which is a 7nm process, just like the desktop processors are right now. That gives them a 15% IPC, which is instructions per cycle, boost over the previous. So because it's running at a slower clock, it's not drawing as much power, it's not running as hot, but it's able to process more information. I thought that was really interesting because it means a lot for what gaming PCs will look like in the future. They may not be this massive brick that I have sitting next to me. They might be more like a laptop with an add-on. We are gonna save this because our HP is looking a little bit spotty, just a tiny little bit. So I'm kind of curious to know, any of you that have outdoor hobbies, if you're a biker or a hiker or a camper or anything like that, thank you. How are you guys getting by right now? I'm genuinely curious. Just would like to know what you're doing in the meantime. Do you guys use indoor bikes or treadmills or anything like that? I personally do use an indoor bike whenever I'm able to go to a gym, and I enjoy it a lot. You know, the reason why I use a bike is because I'm incredibly old, and my knees do not love running. Oh, thank you. We're gonna have to amp this damage up if we want to be viable later in the game. So I'm not a huge fan of running or jogging, but I have been running more now than I did 5-6 years ago. Even whenever I worked out more. I didn't run as much as I do now. Mostly because I didn't feel as light as I do now. That's all I'm comfortable doing. So I'm curious to know, I did talk about working out in the last episode, trying to see what people are doing as maybe some temporary solutions when they're not able to go to a gym. Which I'm not knocking at all. I know a lot of states are reopening many different types of businesses. I don't think a gym is the right kind of business to reopen right now, personally. Because it's basically just people breathing heavily around other people. It seems like a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. Yes, crush your children. Oh no! Thank you, Ghost Pepper. My next topic over here is about job entries. And the reason I want to bring this up is because I work in a job where I handle knives very often. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's because I process meat commercially for a very large business. And I just want to point out, I have been cut several times at work, but I've never been cut using a knife. Oh, okay, I don't want to do this room. We'll take it. We don't have anything. Could have saved myself the room. But I have been cut many times at work, and in fact today, I got cut on an air intake on a refrigerated case. Isn't that crazy? And it wasn't a sharp piece or anything. It just has this plastic grill on the back that's kind of shaped like a honeycomb. And I happened to just scrape my knuckles against that. Again, not intentionally or anything. But it looks like my hand went through like an industrial cheese grater. Shredded the skin on my knuckles. And getting injured at work is always kind of a big deal because you have to file OSHA paperwork, you bleed, and then you have to talk to customers and tell them, you know, oh no, I promise it's not a big deal. Thank you for the tears up, even if it's just a tiny itty bitty one. It's not a big deal. I don't have any sort of bloodborne pathogens. So, I'm interested to know, if you guys ever have anything happen like that? It kind of sucks. But I think it's interesting to hear some of those like sort of gruesome stories. Like I'll give you a good one here. I was driving a forklift into a walk-in, right? And one of my associates, I was a manager at the time, one of my associates did not tell me that he had run into the door with his forklift, so it wasn't opening properly. And usually I would drive my forklift up, step off, open the door, step back while I was stepping back onto my forklift because it would automatically stop at a full open or at a full close. Oh, the bones. Thank you. And then drive my forklift through once it fully opened. So I did that. I pulled the door, got back on my forklift, drove it in, and the door wasn't fully open. So I stuck my hand out to push it the rest of the way open as I drove through. My forklift fit through just fine. But I wasn't going to have room to pull out a pallet of merchandise like I was trying to. And as I did, the door was jammed, right? And there's a backrest on every forklift. So what happened was my elbow got jammed against that backrest, and my palm got stuck against the door, and it jammed my wrist really hard. And my wrist has never felt the same since. it's a little crazy. Because I was a manager at the time, I wasn't super jazzed about submitting an incident report about myself, so I didn't even bother. Thank you. In hindsight, it's probably a little dumb. Yeah, I agree. We continue donating. We take it back. We won't. We'll buy this pill. It was a range up. Thank you. You know, for a second there, I was a little upset that PhD wasn't showing us our pills. Before I remember, we lost our last run at 7 minutes as a save zone. After I said I wanted an easy run. Totally unacceptable. You should never let me live that down. Anyway, I'd be interested to hear some of your work stories. Like, it doesn't particularly have to be about injuries, but it is always interesting to hear about because I know you guys are not reporting all of them. As a former manager who did report many injuries, I know a lot of associates are afraid that it'll have some sort of repercussions on their job. Now, let me be the first to tell you, it won't. You should go ahead and report anything that happens ever. That was an incredible upgrade. Thank you. We don't want the collar. We're not going to beat you up. So, I was asking about hobbies earlier. Anybody out there collect? I think being a collector is a highly underrated hobby because it's low impact. It's not like it takes a ton of energy to go out and collect. Now, if you're extremely serious about it, it might, because you might have to like physically go out and find things. I know there's a lot of like antique collectors and stuff like that, but I'm specifically talking about collecting something that is probably in production today. And one of my things, something that I get a lot of joy from specifically, is writing instruments. I really get like a very nice pen, and I've been on a nib kick, like a fountain pen kick. Oh my gosh. Look at this plethora. Thank you, sir. I'll be leaving to fight some exploding spiders in the next room. Yeah, so I have these fancy pens that I've been writing in my brand new journal with. But I haven't been using them because I hadn't been writing very much. So, feels good to be able to put them to use. We really could use this, you know. Let's use it. Any batteries? No batteries. Ooh, this is a good room though. So I think things like that are super interesting. Anybody out there collect stamps? I don't know if stamp collecting is still like a big thing, but I'm super curious to know. The spiders. We are Spider-Man. Talked a little bit about production, but I got in touch with my younger brother. My younger brother's name is Zach. He's on YouTube. His name is Trained Scorpion. And he's been making videos for like 8 years. He's been making videos since Minecraft Hunger Games was a big deal, and maybe before that, so it's been a while. It's like when Hunger Games, the movies, were a big deal, and Minecraft was a big deal concurrently. That gives you any clue. We're gonna switch to this. Whoa, we are making incredible time. Oh my gosh. Boss rush. Not likely. I gotta move. Okay, we're strong enough for it, for sure. Give me that. Use it. Oh, thank you. I think we do want it. Give me the damage. Spiders will become a little bit stronger. And we'll just peep it. I'm not convinced, but Ipecac has me convinced. Yeah, we're gonna do it. Oh my gosh. Immediately. We got one of the worst bosses, but I think we'll be totally fine. Our spiders are gonna be out of control. And they'll be extremely strong. Like, I don't think we're gonna have to do anything. Because every new spider is gonna be one of these super spiders. Oh my gosh, we get double doubles via the battery. I think this is all hunky-dory as long as I don't walk into too many shots. Ooh, no. I was standing in the worst spot. Come on, don't ruin it. Oh my gosh. The spiders. Alright, keep moving. Keep moving. Don't let them smack you. Once we leave here, you got a lot left to do. Maybe I shouldn't be so quick on the draw with oh, that's good. With the compost. The spiders are incredible, but they're a little hard to control. So one of the last things that I have on my brainstorm list, and I know it seems a little presumptuous to say last, but come on, we just got Ipecac. Our spiders are doing like 140 damage. I'm just yeeting everything we get, so this one's either gonna be a win or a loss, and it's gonna be quick. Okay, double them. Feels unnecessarily spiced. We've got 3 heaping teaspoons of cayenne on this one, and we're just eating the consumable. We're gonna eat them. So one of the last things I want to talk about is achieving your goals. And I brought it up at the beginning of this video, but I never really explained what I was talking about. So this is exactly it, right? When I talk to people about Twitch affiliate status, okay, or if I talk to somebody about building my channel or building a community. Oh, no. They usually ask me questions. Oh my gosh. Hey, if you want to hear the rest of that conversation, you're going to have to join me in the next video, hopefully, with some HD audio. You'll have to give me some feedback on that. If you did join in and enjoyed the episode, please consider liking, subscribing to my channel, and telling someone about it. That's where I was going with that conversation, is having your community build itself. If you did join in, I appreciate it greatly. Please leave a comment if you have any suggestions. Leave a rating, whether you liked it or you disliked it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.